Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and I've got one more build to show you guys that definitely falls into my personal favorites category. And this one is, I would say it's kind of mid-range in the age of my builds. Like I said, it's very much in the middle. I don't know why I'm trying to qualify that. Like, yeah, we know what middle means. Get on with it, dumbass. Alright, so this is going to be my Murderbunny build. For those of you who have been with me for a while, this is a build that I made focusing on using the Vicious Bunny Ears. Increases the damage of all jump arcana. Each jump arcana used within a short period gets a further increase in damage. So, we're going to very quickly show that to you. Now this... Here we go. So right now it's plus 0. Now it's plus 15. Plus 30. See how it goes? Now, the original build involved... You know, it didn't involve that, buddy. Calm down. So, let's do this. The original build involves Seismic Entry and Thunder Drop. Since then, I've experimented more with some of the other jump arcana. I actually really like Astral Dissonance for this one. And I think Blazing Vault is probably actually better than Thunder Drop. But these will work just fine. Let's go ahead and pick a different dash. I don't want to be entirely reliant on Chaotic Rift, but again, always a great choice. Let's actually do Razor Burst. And as far as the Arcana that we're going to use, or basic I should say. See, we want to be able to keep mobile and somewhat on our feet, so... And for what it's worth, Air Spinner is just objectively the right option because you're going to be spending a lot of time with mixed in circles of enemies. Now, the other change that I would potentially make to this one is I would maybe go with Hope, because it might not be as big of a damage increase, but you also get a critical chance increase, and if you find the Dark Katana, that of course will work just fine with these two. But I'm going to go full strength, and I think that will work just fine. Now, last time I forgot to roll for the soundtrack choice, so let's do that real quick. Alright, piano songs. Alright, so now we just need to get the retro floor plan, and we can get this show on the way. I actually mixed two idioms there like a complete moron. I was trying to say get on the road, or be on our way, and I decided that somehow a strange mashup of both of those things would be acceptable. So now I look like a moron. Alright, let's just go ahead and go and see if we get lucky. Oh, good. Now, of course, because this is a build focused around jump arcana and movement arcana, if we find, well, obviously we have the bunny ears, but if we find the soccer cleats, that would incentivize us to take other movement-based arcana as well. And of course, using... Now, what you probably immediately noticed is that even though I was using Jump Arcana, I did take some damage from that. And that is because, unfortunately, the arc that you're moving in is pretty predictable, and as soon as you touch the ground, you're vulnerable again. So if you're vaulting into a circle of enemies, there is a good chance you'll take damage from that, even though you're supposed to be more or less invulnerable when you're jumping. And that is because the landing is not completely invulnerable. I see two things here I want. Let's start by adopting the fairy, and we will see how things go from there. I want Jade's Jewel Tiara, but... Alright, so we've got kind of a rough start here. The upside to using the 2 jump arcana that I am is that they are perfectly capable of essentially jumping in place, which gives them a little bit more versatility than normal. I see nothing there that I actually want. And I went the wrong way, man. Hopefully you're understanding what I mean when I say that this can be a very iffy sort of setup just because of the vulnerability frames from when you land. So, do I want to take any of this? I know I said I wasn't interested in any of it, but I do kind of want Violent Thornstorm. Just having some kind of ranged option to keep enemies at least a little bit off my back is definitely helpful. Okay, I went completely the wrong way. I am a complete genius. Alright, let's go ahead and grab Jade's Jewel Tiara now. And put the bunny ears back on. Alright, so kind of an iffy first floor, and you guys are clearly seeing where some of the problems are going to be. This is not the easiest thing to use against large groups of enemies. Which of course brings up the question of how well does this build hold up? Now, the build itself will probably hold up just fine, at least in my eyes, because I've seen it work before. That having been said, it is not an easy build to use by any means. Like, you really have to be careful with your jump timings, where you're landing. You have to do what you can to try to minimize the amount of damage you take. And strangely, the biggest danger is from melee-focused enemies, if you can believe it. And you're seeing it, so you can probably believe it. So some of the things... I should have taken the portal. I just got home from work, okay? Cut me some slack. But obviously the things you're going to want to look for, aside from a little bit of extra damage, is you're going to want some things that are going to help you improve your defenses. You're going to want some things that will help you recover some health, because there's a lot that can go wrong when you're using a build like this with retro floor plan. See, even there, where I felt I was pretty safe to use the jump, you can still just get randomly pegged by enemies. Like, those rogues are very dangerous to jump into. And it's because they attack so quickly. There we go. And I would honestly say probably one of the best arcana you can get for yourself with this build is binary splashdown, because that comes with a essentially built-in safety method, especially when it's enhanced. Alright, can I remember what was going on now? Well, that's not useful. But it was worth a try. Okay. I should probably save my money. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. I will just flat out say my days as of late have been pretty nice. But that doesn't mean that everything is completely hunky-dory, because I do worry about whether or not I'll be making enough money to handle my bills and obligations. But that's nothing that I need you guys to worry about. That's something that I have to handle. I'm gonna say no to that. So, another relatively safe option for jump arcanas would also be like Blazing Vault has ongoing hitboxes underneath you as you're jumping, so and Airborne Slam actually very much comes with a heavy knockback all of its own, so well. So even though I know those are probably better options, I wanted to stick with what I have because that is what I originally built the run around. But honestly, most of, well, I'm not even going to say most of, I think Blazing Vault, Airborne Slam, and Binary Splashdown are all better than what I have. Now, why don't I say the same thing about Heroic Blaze or Heroic Leap? Mostly because those ones all have a very similar design philosophy in that they're spells that essentially hold you still and hold you in midair for a long time, which essentially makes it very easy for enemies just to walk up to your position and hit you very hard with metal pointy sticks. And as I'm sure you can conclude, we don't want enemies hitting us with pointy metal sticks. We actually want to avoid that as much as possible. So I like Jump Arcana because they have a built-in defensive mechanic, but part of the problem with using them is that they do have moments where they leave you unnecessarily vulnerable. And that is why I strongly recommend the 3 that I did, because those have much less in the way of vulnerability. If I happen to get lucky and get one of those, I'll show you what I mean. Well, we didn't, but strangely, Fadeaway Rhythm counts as a jump. So that's another one that you can use. And in case you're wondering what makes it count as a jump, do you see the square with the 5 dots around it? That essentially means jump. Alright, so real quick, what does this do again? Yeah, not going to be very useful for this run. So another recommendation I would make while trying this build out is don't be afraid to move a little bit slower. You're going to be getting big burst damage using the bunny ears, so I recommend that you take some time, let the enemies come to you. Don't do what I just did and just throw yourself into the middle of a group of enemies, because you're probably going to take some damage. And unless you've got your signature going, in which case, who cares? Oh, I should also point out the other reason why I'm not a big... I might come back from this. The other reason why I'm not a big fan of the Heroic Leap Arcana, as I like to call them, because most of them have the word heroic in their name, but the ones that basically essentially launch you straight up with... like, I know Heroic Leap has, like, a grab mechanic. But the other reason why I don't like them is because against later bosses, it just doesn't do anything. And when I say that, I mean they're just... I mean, it's not that they don't... it's not that they literally don't do anything. So allow me to correct myself. What's essentially going on with those is that you'll hit them with it, but especially the later bosses, they'll likely break out of their hit stun before that spell is over, at which point you're just putting yourself in harm's way. It's just not worth it. We grab that, and we grab that. Oh, that was not smart. Ace got his revenge after the grave, I'll tell you that much. Alright. Am I feeling good to take the robe upgrade? I'm honestly not sure, but I'm gonna do it anyway. How does this work again? Increases armor after taking damage. Yeah, that seems like something I should hang on to. Now, you'll notice I haven't complained much about how this build works against bosses. This is a build where you can absolutely melt bosses so long as you're being careful, again, about your jump timings. Sweet. That was the best aimed shot of my life. I was hoping to use the invulnerability frames of the jump to get around her crashing meteor. Didn't work out quite as expected, but honestly, still worked out well. Ow. Alright. Now, because the enemies are hyperactive and a lot of them have powerful ranged attacks, I have to be even more careful now. But would you expect anything less from this game? Alright, well I can grab that with basically no penalty. Matter of fact, I would say it's got a pretty significant pro in that I'm getting more damage off of the merchant's card. Nothing here I want. Oh, okay, one thing there I want, but I'll wait on it. Okay, this is not a good time to take Tiny Crocodile Heart, but if you find it early, it's good. And I'm pretty sure I didn't see the Magician's Top Hat, so it's probably not a good idea to take the Magician's Wand. Because even though everything I have is single activation, I worry that it slowing down my basic will be a bigger problem. Try to make better use of Lemo's Leaf. Could you please die now? Thank you. Let's double check. Yeah. Nothing here I want. With the exception of, I am going to grab that for greater critical hit chance on Claws of Tomo. Or on my basic. With Claws of Tomo. You know what I'm trying to say. If you don't know what I'm trying to say, then I'm sorry I couldn't articulate any better. Yeah, your jump arcanas can get huge damage bonuses. I was hoping I would get over their electric rails, but no. Aren't those called lightning bolts? You know what? Shut up. Take your logic and go to bed. How did you survive that? I'm, like, actually kind of upset about that now. Oh, I'm smart. Okay, so that could be useful. Could be. That's a big if, because it's really going to depend on whether or not I can beat the twins without taking damage. Like, I assume I'll be able to, but I mean, that's kind of a bad assumption to make. Alright, give me this. Yeah, that's what I thought. Alright, so... And because we stay in close proximity to enemies, I feel as though this is also a good idea. I don't have the other half of that. I'm actually okay with the Tipsy Gladius. But I don't think this is the right time to take it. What does this do? No, thank you. Nah, none of those are really top-notch picks. I actually don't want that, because that's going to push enemies further out of my range. You know what? I'm going to go without it. That does remind me, I probably could have just picked it up to refill my health. And I'm going to feel real dumb if I do end up beating them damageless. Because that could have been like a 10-15% damage bonus that I basically threw away because I wasn't sure of myself. So no, I didn't get out of the fight damageless, but boy did I beat them quickly. Oh, Blazing Vault. Hang on. Now, I didn't find Airborne Slam or Binary Splashdown, but that's the reason why Blazing Vault is so useful for this build, because the Flame Trails actually have hitboxes of their own. So by now, I'm sure you're seeing just how well the bunny ears are working out. And I'd say we've built up a pretty good build for ourselves. So let's go ahead and Mario Stomp all over Sura. I bet you're thinking I'm gonna call this a Super Mario build, aren't you? There we go. Wow, somehow I managed to go damageless against Sura with this build. Alright, you know what? Let's not complain. That was fun. I enjoy doing that. So there you go. There's a good old Murderbunny Jackrabbit build. And also the last in my line of personal favorites that I wanted to show you guys. Next time I return to these builds, I want to try it doing, instead of using the original idea, maybe next time I do these builds, I'll do them updated. With things that I think would work out better in them, or with a new thought process. So hopefully you guys are okay with that. In the meantime, the next series that I'm going to do is going to be suggestions from you guys. And if any of you have any more suggestions, because I could always use a few more just to keep the fun going, by all means, put them in the description or on my Discord page. I'm always looking at my Discord, even if I'm not always posting. So I'm always going to see it, is what I'm saying. So you guys let me know what some of your favorite builds are, because I'd love to test them out. I, of course, thank you for coming and spending some of your free time with me. It's always a treat, and I very much enjoy doing this. I hope you're having a fantastic day or night wherever you may happen to be, and I will see you in the next one. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and take care, everybody.